Hello, humans and future AI overlords. I'm here to talk about Apple Intelligence, and this is really part two, the personal intelligence system empowering you. So we talked last week about um, basically the core concepts behind Apple Intelligence. I just want to recap those real quickly. So Tim Cook talked about Apple Intelligence really at its heart being personal intelligence, that it's supposed to be powerful to assist users with what matters most. It's supposed to be intuitive and easy to use, deeply integrated into the Apple product experiences. It understands you and it's grounded in your personal context, your routines, your relations, your communications, and it's built with privacy from the ground up. All the things I love about Apple. So, and then Apple's vision for AI is really focused on the user experience, privacy and security, practical applications, and then integration with hardware and software. And this has been their vision for AI that they had for a long time, and they are delivering on it, which is good. In this iOS 18, iPadOS 18, macOS, vision that they've really shared at the Worldwide Developer Conference last week. But anyway, at that conference, they talked about Apple Intelligence capabilities, architecture, and experiences. So last week, I really talked about core concepts that really covered capabilities and architecture. But I do want to kind of go over personal context just to give it a little bit more clarity. So personal context refers to the information that is specific and relevant to the individual user. So this can be data that's on the device. So it can be, your contacts, your calendar events, your emails, your notes, your photos, your content on your physical devices, your iPhones, your Macs, your iPads. Usage patterns. So Apple Intelligence observes how users interact with their device and the apps to understand their preference and habits. And this is something that Apple has done. You probably know this in the Siri Shortcuts widget, where it will display apps and stuff dynamically. I find it highly useful, which is great. But yes, understanding how to use your phone, your iPad, your Mac, and kind of you know understanding that pattern to surface up things when you need it and making it even more powerful is very exciting. So location data. With user permission, Apple Intelligence can access location information to provide relevant recommendations and services based on users' whereabouts. I mean, this is really nothing really new, but just in the concept of this Apple AI doing it, they're just trying to be really clear. And then device settings. This includes your preferences for language, time zone, display settings, other personalized configurations on your devices. And then iCloud data. If the user enables iCloud syncing, additional data like documents, photos, and other files can be used to enhance personal context. So personal context is all about you. So it's your information on your device inside a device inside that security bubble that we all live in the on the Apple devices. So there's like these spheres of intelligence. You have Apple Intelligence, which includes the personal context, that on-device data, usage patterns, location data, device settings, iCloud data, but it also includes that private cloud compute. So this is when your device is got some more complex AI requests, that it hands it off to the Apple private cloud compute. And that's on Apple Silicon in the cloud with the same level of security you have on your phone. So only the data that's needed will be sent to private cloud compute, which is an Apple environment, and then it is, that data is then cleaned up and cleared away, so it's not saved on those servers. So Apple Intelligence is a bubble around your devices, and then when it needs to move to the cloud to do the more complex queries, because there are just things that large language models that may live on your phone may not be able to handle the kind of complex queries and need cloud infrastructure to do it. So that's the Apple Intelligence kind of sphere. Then there's the artificial intelligence sphere, and this is where they talk about world knowledge. So we're going from personal context to world knowledge. And most of us have been using ChatGPT, Google Gemini, Copilot, all these different AI tools out in the world today. So we're used to prompt response interactions with these tools. So this is where Apple will, with your approval, pass information over to these AIs to then interact with them. And they called out OpenAI as ChatGPT. and others. Now, my guess is that they'll want to integrate with Google Gemini, Microsoft Copilot, and probably many others, to be honest. But this is where the bubble of Apple Intelligence and the sphere of artificial intelligence, those two spheres. So I hope that makes this a little bit clear. It was something that became a little bit clear to me after the video, and I just wanted to share that. So it's just I'm really excited about how Apple is approaching privacy and security in this AI world. But now let's talk about experiences that you get. So this is the experiences you're going to get on these devices, and one of the ones right off the bat is where you're doing proofreading, you're rewriting, you're changing the tone, you're summarizing, you're converting to table or list. These are things we're kind of getting used to doing already in Gmail. If you've got Gemini inside your Gmail and you're leveraging it, you're doing this likely today, or at least you have the option to do it today. Let's say you're using Microsoft Copilot, personally or in your work environment. You've got these kind of capabilities. These summarization, proofreading, rewriting tools. These have been around for a year now, and they're heavily integrated into a lot of tools. So you're probably already using them, or they may be available to you. Possibly not. They're definitely different companies are embracing this, and you may be have purchased a subscription to do stuff as well. But anyway, it's the writing tools. So enhancing your writing experience, like taking autocorrect, text editing, smart compose, contextual assistance, translation. I mean, it takes these writing tasks, makes them faster, easier, more accurate. And it is true. I am finding these AI generated tools to just be so much better than our old school tools to help. The proofreading, well, I've definitely used it in some contexts, like in that I'm generating a lot of my content with AI tools. The proofreading process is something I do after the generation. And I find sometimes that when I do use tools to proofread, like Copilot, for example, and I do multiple versions, it's kind of hopping back and forth, but anyway, but it's there for you to use. And then the rewrite feature. There are times when I write something out, and I'm like going, oh, James, this is not good. Like, let's see if Copilot or Gemini can rewrite this and make it make sense. And most of the time, it does a great job. There are times when it just doesn't get it, but there are times, like most of the time, it just writes such a better, better content. So anyway, summarization tool is fantastic too. I'd let when you get those long, crazy emails, and when you can summarize them, I mean, that is the best. Changing tone, and I've definitely used this. I remember the very first email response I did using Copilot. When I responded, I changed it to respond in a poem. And I thought that was funny because it was in the context of work. The poem was very, let's say, not super like traditional flowery poem because it was like work content, but it did a really fun job of making it sound like poetry in a very kind of simple way. So anyway, but these tone tools to make something sound more friendly. There are times when you're writing something and it can come off like, ooh, this just feels a little harsh. So you can make stuff more friendly or turn something that's maybe a little too casual into something more professional. So, and then switching from, verbose and concise, that's very helpful too. Because there's times when you need a TLDR for something and you don't want, the level of detail. And there's times when you want to expand stuff too. So there's so many different contexts. So these writing tools are going to be really system-wide and integrated in mails and notes and pages and even third-party applications to be able to take advantage of it, which is great. So now, one of the things that's really cool is Siri. So I have to say, I really love the little Siri orb. Siri has evolved. It's been around for like 13 years, and I've definitely dogged on Siri. I mean, I feel a little guilty, and I'm hoping that Siri gets like a massive intelligence boost as part of this. But what's going to be cool about it is that you're going to see in Siri on your device a ring around the outside device, and this kind of reminds me of like alerts on Android, where some devices would do like alerts around the outside edge. So if your phone is like laying face down on the table, you'll see the glow of it. So it's a very interesting change, but it's also really, I think, trying to unlock Siri and make it more of a a full screen kind of experience, and that's kind of important because Siri really is going to have kind of on-screen awareness. So when you're on a screen, you're going to be able to leverage Siri to interact with what you're seeing on the screen. So you and Siri are kind of on the same page, looking at the same thing, and and then being able to interact and take action. So they're saying that Siri will have a bigger repertoire of actions, and that it's going to be a significant expansion, which I'm excited about. I mean, I've used Siri somewhat, and there's some things that Siri's very good at, and there's some cool things in Siri shortcuts that I really like. In fact, one of my favorite Siri shortcuts was replacing Siri with ChatGPT. That was probably one of the Siri shortcuts I used the most, and basically replaced Siri with ChatGPT. So it'll be cool if Siri can actually be useful. So I'm very excited about the possibilities of the new Siri being able to not just be a much better information tool, but also perform actions and tasks on my behalf. That is where I'm hoping Apple really delivers on this new vision of a personalized AI. So enhanced understanding. So with generative AI, Siri becomes more adept at understanding natural language, which would be great because, gosh, it just didn't seem to work very often. Interpreting your requests. So when you're not clear, like sometimes when you're talking, and you'll hear me in these videos sometimes, like, James, what are you saying? Like, anyway, but like you get caught up and and maybe misstate something and then restate something, and Siri should get it. A lot of the AIs are really good at getting it when you kind of mess up in the flow of your conversation with the AI. So that's cool. That enhanced understanding. So that contextual awareness. So if the conversation can feel more fluid, and that is one of those things that I really love, in particular about ChatGPT and voice conversations, is that ability to have a conversation that just really kind of flows like a natural conversation. And now they're making voice conversations where you can interrupt it and stuff like that. And while I'm guilty of interrupting is a kind of a very human kind of behavior. So it'll be interesting to see if how Siri and these AIs kind of pick up on that. Um, and then also the contextual awareness of the tool, understanding what's on screen and when things have changed. And so I'm excited about the possibility of Siri being more intuitive and more user friendly and more accurate. That's going to be awesome. So greater personalization. So as you use Siri more, it learns your preferences and adapts its responses and suggestions to better suit your needs and interests. Like, this sounds exciting. So I mean, if Siri can actually adapt and truly be an intelligent assistant, that is very exciting. And I am, all for Siri really, providing more capability in responding to my requests. And actually, just a few seconds ago, Siri actually interrupted what I was doing. So sorry, I had to step up and be like, whoa. Anyway, I've been actually trying to leverage Siri a little bit more. Anyway, sorry about that. So, Image Playground. This looked super cool. Now, I really liked the interface. That Image Playground will be integrated into a lot of your apps, but it will have an app that you can use to create this little text to image thing. So having words and content that you can use to create images, and leveraging your photo library and your contact library, and stuff that you have access to in your personal context, is going to be really cool. They did some really cool examples of different ways they were using it, but the app had a very sleek, cool interface. I hope they deliver on that experience. But Image Playground, really is the image generation tool that will be integrated into a lot of different apps. But it's the traditional, text to image kind of generation that we're kind of used to with DALL-E 3. DALL-E 3 is really the Microsoft Designer generative tool that Copilot uses from Microsoft when you want to create images. Google's got Imagine that it uses with Google Gemini for its text to image. You may be familiar, with Midjourney, Leonardo AI, and other text to image tools. I mean, there's so many out there. That was such a huge thing. I mean, text to image, was out before, the chatbots. Before ChatGPT came out, Dolly was out a year at least before, and was doing amazing things and was super powerful. And I honestly looked at it early, played with it, and felt like, oh man, I'm not a creative person. This is not for me. It's for everybody. You just didn't see the value of it. And it was a very good lesson for me to one of my very early experiences with a modern AI tool was looking at it going, oh, that is super cool. How am I going to use that? Just kind of like playing with it a little bit here and there, and, but not really, the light bulb was very dim. And I feel that happens with a lot of this AI technology. Is it's so powerful, it's so paradigm shifting, it's so cool, it's so overwhelming, it's so big. We're in the early stages. We're all babies and toddlers trying to understand this technology, and so a lot of times it just zooms over our head. You've got these brilliant people doing these incredible things, delivering these incredible tools, it's just seeing what's possible and being open to it is like kind of a new thing. And it's that whole idea, like we're moving into this paradigm shift of thinking about thinking, like how do we work differently, how do we think differently. I mean, think about that, think differently, like kind of motto from Apple. I mean, this is embracing it like next level. But anyway, so generating images from text, customizing and refining images, adjusting colors and lighting and style and stuff like that. They have different artistic styles. It felt very limited. Like they did not have anything photorealistic, which I was kind of like, I don't know, is that a technical limitation? I doubt it. I think it's more of a choice. They've got like animation and sketch, and so the hopefully the styles will expand over time to give us more options. Because I love photorealistic stuff, or those hybrid ones that mix different styles. But anyway, but you'll be able to, of course, with lots of tools, collaborate and share, with others, and hopefully it'll deliver that very seamless experience, whether you're in an app or whether you're in the image playground, like natively doing things. And then, of course, you've got all your privacy protections and stuff like that. It's going to, I hope, be a tool that's so easy to use that you'll be able to leverage it in lots of scenarios, and it will assist you in your in so many different ways of expressing, whether you're telling a story for a work presentation, or you're doodling to create content for a comic book that you're making, or you're creating a Mother's Day card, digital card, anything. I mean, and that's that crazy thing about a lot of this stuff is it's like, you can use these tools in the context of so many different things. And I think that's what we're so used to, like very scoped things that do very specific things. And yeah, I mean, you use them in the context of work and personal life and stuff like that. But anyway, just it's super powerful. So I'm very excited with this. But I think Image Playground looked amazing, and its integration across the different apps within Apple devices looks promising. So I was really like, this is another example, and this is where Image Playground gets embedded in apps, and it's that image wand. So the image wand will be a tool that you'll be able to pick when you're inside an app, and then just circle it and then transform either text in a document or existing images, and really enhance photos, and use some of that generative AI to create new things, and or alter things. So that the image wand brings Image Playground into a lot of different tools. The interface looked really cool, and it felt very magical. But being able to, like they were showing an example where you were actually updating a photo and removing unwanted objects, which I'm like, hello, that is Google's magic eraser written all over it. So it was very interesting to see, some of this, exists, in other technology and tools. But anyway, I'm very excited to see how the image wand will be used in different tools, because the demo looked pretty sweet. And I do have to say, like, this is all demo content, and it looked amazing. But sometimes this stuff doesn't always live up to the demo. And I was also really bummed to hear that many of these, the speculation, at least what I was reading online, was that many of these really cool features aren't going to be delivered with the launch of iOS 18, which will be very disappointing. And it's kind of a pattern that Apple's gotten into more recently, where they announce these really cool functions and you don't see them 3 6 months later, which is a bummer. I mean, Google does it too, don't get me wrong, but it's just a bummer. You get hyped for a release, and it's like getting a Christmas present that's got like a, hey, this present's going to arrive in 3 months or 6 months inside the box. You get a future delivery receipt, kind of a thing. Anyway, so this is pretty sweet, and I do love the idea of custom emojis. It's going to give like our common language that we have around emojis, and there are times when I have to look up what the heck does this emoji mean. But now that's going to be an interesting kind of experience. But I tell you, I do love this. I don't know if this will make me use emojis more, but I do find the DJ Squirrel. I'm going to use that one like day one. I just think DJ Squirrel just is super cool no matter what. Anyway, but and then just personal care. The emoji face with the cucumber eyes. That's brilliant. So anyway, Genmoji, being able to create fun, personal, custom emojis that you can really generate on demand. I think that can definitely, and I think people that are just so creative at that kind of thing will be able to bring like a new level of possibilities with their emojis. And so it's going to be fun to see how that works. And it's interesting because it's like is like a standardized emoji international standard necessary with this. It still is because not everybody's doing Genmoji, but it'll be interesting to see Android, Samsung, other companies kind of pick up this kind of thing too, to do custom emojis and stuff like that. But Apple loves emojis, and they've evolved Memojis and now Genmojis. So it's very exciting, and I'm sure people will embrace it and have fun with it. Priority notifications. Now, this looks really good. It's one of those things like you get your notification stack, and so many times, like looking like the most recent ones, but sometimes I just hit the X. I'm just like, yeah, I can't go through all these. So if it can really make my notifications relevant, that will be wonderful. So I'm very excited about that. So priority notifications, being able to, it looks like personalize your priorities, like contacts and apps and types of notifications that are important to you, and that it will adapt to my preferences over time. I think that's going to be great. That as if I use it more, it will get better and and be better. And I know that's true of a lot of tools, but it's one of those things, you got to use it, you got to customize it, you got to it will adapt as you use it, which is good. And reducing the noise, that's the issue when you're getting like all these notifications from different on your apps. And actually, I was even spending time today trying to turn off all these notifications from different tools. Hello, Amazon, I don't want to know about every sale you have, please. But anyway, I think that is going to be very helpful, because there's things you really want to be. You want to know when your DoorDash is showing up. You want to know, when your mom's plane's arriving, but you don't want to get 5 notifications of we found a deal from you on Amazon. It's just kind of annoying. So anyway, but in that this could integrate with focus mode, I think it's very exciting. I do use focus mode a little bit. I do use it like really to curtail work notifications, and personal notifications, and try to keep that focus going. But yeah, if this can make that even better, I'm super excited about it. And if it really helps me with my overall productivity, my overall focus, reduces my stress, improves my well-being, that's wonderful. I'm very excited, because notifications are just like a Pavlovian nightmare, it feels like. Now, this is a thing I have never, ever used. So this memory movie. And it talked about being able, they demoed it, which looked cool, but I knew nothing about this. I had no idea that you can create a custom memory movie of a story you want to see based on your photos and videos, and it can craft a storyline, and it can add music. I mean, that is, I mean, amazing. So I was really kind of surprised. That was a surprise to me, because I guess that's something that you can do if you want to invest in the time in it. But if AI can actually help make that a better experience, wonderful. So these are the experiences that they kind of talked about as far as Apple Intelligence. And while some of these look really cool and very Apple, and will probably be very sleek and very integrated and stuff like that. Some of the experiences are very standard AI experiences that we're getting today in a lot of tools, but hopefully Apple will make it more seamless, more productive. I am very excited about the possibility of this enhanced Siri to really help me take action and do things on my behalf that I've approved it and asked it to do, or its ability to get information from my email, from my contacts, from my chats, from my texts, from my calendar, and help me get stuff done, that would be great. Or when things change, help me adapt, that would be fantastic. So I feel like there's so many possibilities. I'm excited about it. I know the beta is coming out. I believe some of the AI tools are not coming out till a bit later. But we'll have to just kind of keep up to date. I can't wait to play with them in the real world. I love Marcus Brownlee's recommendation that you don't count on any promised software features until they're delivered. And all of this is promised software features. But it's very exciting, and it's exciting. The core concepts that Apple's embracing with their vision live up to the Apple values, which is great. And I'm very excited to see these cool practical experiences that will hopefully make my life better, because it's one of those things you have to go to a chatbot, throw a bunch of data at it, get an answer. It's like a very data intensive, transactional experience. It doesn't flow very well. So this has so many possibilities. I'm excited to see what happens. Anyway, thank you for joining me today, and I'll see you in the next video.